When it comes to the plane lady, there are a few oddities that I would like to discuss when it comes to her recent video. Now, TMZ has been pretty much following this woman as much as I have, and that is saying a lot. The very first time she made her Twitter account, the only thing she was following was TMZ. When she made her apology video, the very first ones to break that video out, even before her, was TMZ. And then later it was uploaded on her YouTube account. And then again, they were able to make perfect timing because they were able to spot her at this airport, and they were the only ones to report it. Nobody else in this airport took a photo of her, took a video of her, and said, hey, there is Tiffany Gomez. She looks oddly exactly the same, dressed exactly the same. This is that woman. I'm going to take a video of her. I'm going to take a picture of her. She is a very famous face on the internet. This woman is pretty much the face of the internet right now. And you mean to tell me nobody else spotted her or took a video of her and uploaded it to get clicks and views? Just TMZ. And we know who TMZ works for and how they get down. They're always the first ones to report on a celebrity's death. They're always the first ones to arrive, even sometimes before emergency services. TMZ even knew about Kobe Bryant's death even before Kobe Bryant's family. They reported it so early that many people on social media were even questioning its accuracy. So right off the back, we cannot trust TMZ. I mean, you can't trust any news and media, you can't trust big media, but TMZ has that extra demonic stank on it. But TMZ aside, there are two things I really want to touch on when it comes to the new video. One is how she looks exactly the same from when the first time we saw her. The only difference is the color of her shirt. Now, I had a theory about this and I stopped myself when I saw that the colors of the shirts were different, but everything else appears to be exactly the same. Her makeup, her hair, even the style of clothing, she looks exactly the same. A little bit, but not really. And another thing I want to touch on is the numerology, the numbers behind her, 23 and 22. Now, I made a video a few weeks back that you should really check out. It's called 923 Predicted, Scary 923 Theory. And in that video, I gave multiple examples how the numbers 922, 923, and just 23 and 22 by itself are popping up everywhere in the media, TV shows, movies, video games.
If you are getting prepared for any type of disaster, because that's what's happening in the month of September, so we're getting you ready. That's what's happening in the month of September, so we're getting you ready.
And why this is very important, before the events of September 2001, the numbers 9/11, 9/11/2001 were appearing all over the media. All over video games, all over TV, all over movies. There are photos and videos of TVs and movies showing planes hitting the building and even showing a plane hitting the Pentagon. There was even a X-Files spinoff, an episode called The Smoking Gun, which goes scene by scene, 911. It even shows one of the plane's flight path that is similar to the same one that hit the buildings on September 2001. And this was months prior to September 2001.
Government plans to commit a terrorist act against a domestic airline.
There you go. Indicting the entire government as usual. It's a faction. A small faction.
For what possible gain?
The Cold War's over, John. But with no clear enemy to stockpile against, the arms market's flat. But bring down a fully loaded 727 into the middle of New York City, and you'll find a dozen tin pot dictators all over the world just clamoring to take responsibility.
When?
Tonight?
Your flight's gonna make an unscheduled stop.
Corner of Liberty and Washington, Lower Manhattan.
World Trade Center. I'm going to crash the plane into the World Trade Center.
So you can easily see why people would harp on numbers that are now repeated in the news and media. And the numbers 22 and 23 are perfectly in frame so we can see it in a video of a woman who's already very mysterious, where some have even pointed out that she's already tied to the occult, because in the original video, some say that you can see her throw up the Baphomet hand signs. And a lot of people actually do believe that something big will happen on September 22nd and September 23rd. Not just because they're all over the news and media, these numbers, but because there's also a lot of tension around the world, a lot of weird stuff that has been happening as well. In no other time in history have we had the government talk about UFOs and aliens like they have been just this year alone. Any other time in history, even a year back, 2 years back, if you were to mention the government knows about UFOs and aliens, you would be pretty much considered a conspiracy theorist, kooky. But now, UFOs and aliens, the government having this knowledge is now being taken very seriously by the government, by Congress. And this information is coming out left and right by the whistleblowers. So talking about aliens and UFOs this year alone, you're no longer really considered a conspiracy theorist. Then on top of this, we have all these weird news stories about people seeing odd things on planes in 2023 alone. No time in history have we seen news stories of people seeing things that are not real on planes. People want to say mental illness, want to say alcohol, but I do challenge anybody to find an article prior to 2023 of people seeing something on a plane that's causing them to panic. You cannot. The Chinese man took place in 2023. The Russian man took place in 2023. We had Tom Cowling, the British boxer, 2023. Then we have this woman, all taking place again in 2023. And then on top of everything else, we have the news almost every day releasing negative news stories about planes, how there's all these near misses in the skies when it comes to big airliners, not small planes, but big airliners almost colliding into one another. With July alone, there were 46 near misses. Then we have our politicians, you know, the ones that represent the United States of America, acting very weird, acting very odd on TV, really showing their age. We have Mitch McConnell not freezing once, but twice on TV, with somebody having the nerve to ask him, are you going to run again?
Senator, you're up for election in 3 short years. What are your thoughts on
I'm sorry, I had a hard time hearing you.
it? That's okay. What are your thoughts on running for re-election in 2026?
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026?
That's,
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026? All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator. Penny.
Okay.
We had Senator Feinstein in California acting very dazed and confused, where she needed help in order to vote.
With the presence of a quorum, we will now vote to report the Defense Appropriations Bill favorably, subject to amendment. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Feinstein.
You say aye.
Pardon me?
Aye.
Yeah.
Just say
I would like to support a yes vote on this. It provides $823 billion. That's an increase of $26 billion for the Department of Defense. And it funds priorities submitted.
yeah. Just say aye.
Okay, just
Great.
aye.
Thank you.
And it's just not the very old. There are new concerns over Senator Fetterman's health after his speech introducing Biden.
Commit to work with the governor and the delegation to make sure that we get this fixed quick, fast as well too. This is a president that is committed to infrastructure, yeah, and then on top of that, the dual kind of a law of the inflation bill.
And then we have our president, Biden, acting more like Biden than ever before. In a lot of videos, we show him on stage looking dazed and confused, shaking hands with nobody, talking with nobody. His Hawaii response was an embarrassment. We get a Twitter post from him that looks like he's trolling when he makes the comment laser focused, rambling on stage in Hawaii about his kitchen fire, comparing it to this massive fire that caused a lot of death and destruction. So there are a lot of legitimate concerns about the president. And then we have the ex-president Trump, his mugshot just released. So it's looking like a very, very bad time for the United States. It looks like the United States is vulnerable. But it's just not the United States. Pretty much the whole world is on fire. And then the cherry on the top is that the C-19 is making its return with not one, not two, not three, but 4 new variants. So while 2020 started with everything really going downhill, 2023 has really cranked up the strangeness factor. So with everything that has been going on so far, and with the numbers 23, 22, 922, 923 being shown in the media, there are legitimate concerns that something big may just happen next month. And I personally do not believe in coincidences one bit. Out of all the numbers, it just happens to be the numbers everybody is talking about that is shown in her video. Now, some have said that that day could be the rapture, and that when the rapture happens and people disappear, they're going to blame UFOs and aliens. Now, me personally, I don't believe it's the rapture because nobody is supposed to know the time or the hour that the rapture will happen. There are some versions that say that the believers will see all the signs and they will know that the rapture will occur. But there are other versions, like the King James Version, that says that for believers, it will come like a thief in the night, that we won't know. So me personally, I do not believe it involves the rapture. But if anything is going to happen next month, it may indeed involve planes, because there has been a lot of predictive programming in the media and in the news involving planes. Matter of fact, in the UK, I believe it was last week, there was a massive delay at the airport due to a technical glitch. So is it possible that we may see a technical glitch that may cause all these planes to just fall out of the skies or crash into one another? We actually see this predictive programming in the new M. Night Shyamalan movie that was a 2023 movie, Knock at the Cabin. The movie's premise was about the end of the world, and one of the signs was planes falling out of the skies and crashing. But right before this, the very first sign was the natural disasters. Just like we see today, we have the natural disasters, these wildfires, these hurricanes. But then, underneath it all, we have these very odd stories about planes. So I wonder, is that going to be the very next event, the planes? Just like the movie is showing us, just like Hollywood is doing their predictive programming once again. So there is a specific reason they keep showing us these numbers, and they know in a video that involves this woman, a lot of people are going to click this video because they're interested in any updates that does involve her. So once again, all our eyes are watching these numbers. And what is this woman doing in an airport anyway? You would think she would be blacklisted from flying. She would be on a no-flight list, because there are some people, even some YouTubers, who have talked about specific topics and found themselves on a no-flight list. And you mean this woman who caused this big scene, and she's banned from the specific airport in Texas. She was given a no trespass, is now on a no-flight list, and she can fly in other locations. This just does not sit well with me. There is also the fact that her style matches the same style in the very first video when she had her original panic on that plane. Now, my original theory that I was making a video on is that they are creating new body cam footage days later, making it seem like it took place that very first day where she had her panic. So they can build up this narrative that she's this crazy drunk woman that was really upset about her AirPods. And then as I was recording that video, I said that really doesn't make much sense, because the color of the shirt in this video is brown, and the color of the shirt in any body cam that we see of her is gray. So that would have been a weak argument on my part. But I just found it very odd that nobody on the internet could find any photo of her. Nobody knew her name. And then on one day, there was an explosion of information weeks later. There was photos of her with friends. There is all this body cam that's being released little by little, making it seem like once they had all their information together, once they had their narrative built up, they were now ready to release everything they created. And why I really like this theory, because like I said, all the body cam footage is really chopped up and released little by little. But there's this one body cam video that's pretty much different than the others. And odd enough, you can't really find this one on YouTube. It's really buried if it is. I had to Google it, and I think it's only on TikTok. In only this one video here does she sound different. She sounds drunk. She slurs her words a lot. She mentions the ear pods. She looks tipsy. But in no other video, no other body cam footage, not even in the original video or the alternate angle of the original video, does she ever mention the ear pods. Does she ever slur her words? Is she ever tipsy?
So were you just sitting in there?
No, I've been outside talking to my mother about the flight I was just on that's probably not going to make it.
Okay. So what happened on the flight? So we weren't there. So what happened on the flight?
Well, the asshole beside me, I switched seats with.
Okay. Was it the gentleman that was sitting right there with you? Inside?
I switched seats with him thinking like it was going to be a good idea.
Yeah.
Then he stole my AirPods, and then he like had his face up, and I tried to talk to him, and he wouldn't.
So were you in that other male, the one that got escorted out?
Oh no, the other male never got escorted out.
Yeah.
Just I did because I said I wasn't comfortable being on that flight with him.
She did just push him basically on his chest.
So it appears to me this particular body cam footage was created days later, if not weeks later, to build around the narrative that's being released that she's this crazy woman who went off about her AirPods and that she was drunk. Or another theory is this just could be another AI deepfake, because people do underestimate the powers of deepfaking. Because you have to ask yourself, why is nobody else but TMZ reporting seeing this woman at the airport? Because this woman is internet famous. Her face is all over the internet. And she's wearing the same exact style. Even her hair is the same from the initial video. So anybody seeing her at the airport should stop and say, hey, there's that woman. I see the woman at the airport. I'm sitting next to the woman who had the panic on her flight. I'm sitting next to her on the plane. I hope she doesn't do anything on this plane. Somebody, anybody, just answer that for me. Please answer that question in the comment below. Why is nobody else filming or recording this woman at this airport? It would be like seeing Michael Jackson in his Thriller costume at a graveyard and being like, I have my phone on me, but I'm not going to record this. I'm not going to take a picture of this. I'm just going to clearly walk past this person who is very famous doing what they do in their costume, and I'm just going to ignore it. Someone somewhere must be promoting their TikTok or YouTube account saying, hey, I have new video footage that I have taken of the plane lady at the airport. This is what I saw her doing. And until somebody releases this video or photos, I am going to believe nobody else saw her, and this right here is a deep fake, making us believe, hey everybody, look, it's the plane lady. She's in her costume. She looks exactly the same. This is her standing next to the numbers 22 and 23. Nothing to question here. This whole thing is just getting weirder and weirder and weirder with every bit of new information that does come out. We see this woman everywhere. We see new videos and photos of her everywhere. But the other people, the Chinese man, the Russian man, Tom Calling, we have heard nothing else from these people in the news, making it seem like she is really sweeping these other stories under the rug, especially Tom Calling, who happened only a couple days before her event. His event took place, I believe, around June 29th, while hers took place July 2nd. And if you don't believe me, Google Tom Calling. Google British boxer tries to open the plane door. You will see zilch updates on his story. And the only person really talking about Tom Calling and any recent updates has been me. About how the police beat him in the police car. How when he went to the hospital, he was tortured. And even more bizarre, unlike Tiffany Gomas, When it comes to Tom Cowling's flight, nobody came out saying, I was on Tom Cowling's flight, I saw this, I saw that, I recorded this. Nobody has come out saying they were on his flight and gave their experience. And you have to ask yourself why, because I'm very fascinated about Tom Cowling's experience. Matter of fact, between all of them, I want to know more about Tom Cowling. I'm more interested what he saw on his flight. And the reason behind that is because we have really no information about him. And the reason why I make more videos about the plane lady is because she's the only one there has been any updates about. So the only question is this really her? Because to me, in the original video, she even sounds different. I thought originally she was from New Jersey or Pennsylvania, one of those areas, because of her language, because of how she sounds. But now, in these most recent videos, there is no accent whatsoever. She sounds different. I was born and raised in New Jersey for 20 years, and I know nobody uses mf'er that much in a sentence than people from New Jersey. And at first, I thought the woman in the original video may have been military because of her build, her shoulders, her hairstyle looked very similar to somebody or a woman who would be in the military. And then in any other photos, videos, even in her body cam, she looks petite. I don't know exactly what's happening here, but something definitely does not feel right. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.